Cordoba, drenched in splendor, now started to pulsate with the rhythmic pace of progress and enlightenment. The strife-torn streets echoed with the footsteps of scholars, poets, and merchants. Abdul Rahman's legacy now flourished in the full boom of a vibrant civilization under the golden sun of the cradle of culture and science. But every golden age carries with it the burden of its troubles. Prosperity brought with it the precarious balance of power, where ambition and unity often struggled against each other. The rulers who inherited this empire stood at a crossroads, tasked with preserving its brilliance while warding off the storms brewing both within and beyond its borders. What followed was something of the sublime. Al-Andalus, a beacon shining for all the world, minds from each corner of this earth flocked to it, but with the empire at its highest point, rumblings of disturbance began to be heard. Could that dazzling light in Cordoba stand against shadows that threatened to engulf it? The journey of Al-Andalus was long from over, and its golden hour only just upon it. It was in the golden age of Al-Andalus that Cordoba became an exceptional center of learning and chivalrous scholars worldwide. The city, amidst bustling new ideas for creating citizens from civilization, would resonate with poetry being sung, lutes strummed, and discussion held together in harmony. The surge of Arab traditions and Andalusian culture during their vibrant and robust life in Al-Andalus inspired poets to write about this period. Nature, love, and God were what their poems would talk about. This made the result a cohesive layer to a fragmented world. Cordoba used expansive poetry usage because it treats it not only as an art form, but rather as a culture itself, and parfait for people through public events. For example, musicians such as Ziryab from Baghdad brought an array of new instruments alongside new techniques, which not only revolutionized but completely enhanced the form of music. He paved the way for Europe to adopt a plethora of new traditions, all while sprinkling grace on Iberian chords. Antonio Galeetius, a Roman scholar, has said that Cordoba has had manuscripts of all civilizations in the world from India to Greece. The scholars at Cordoba would look for these incredible pieces and further stretch their walls. Astronomers, mathematicians, and philosophers like Al-Zarawi and Ibn Tufayl made tremendous innovations that drew intellectuals from China and Europe. Cultural progress wasn't restricted to the elite. Government schools progressed, ensuring that knowledge wasn't confined to the wealthy. Cordoba was a beacon, lighting up a world that was drenched in ignorance. What such brilliance raises is the question of whether this cultural resurgence can withstand the pressure coming from both internal and external spheres. As Al-Andalus rose to its summit, seeds of potential disturbance found their avenues to disrupt the very sanctity of this empire. Cordoba was to be the heart of Al-Andalus at its golden hour, a nucleus of science, but of culture as well in Europe. History was being shaped by the brightest at that moment, who would determine that future for countless years ahead. One of the greatest figures from this epoch is Al-Zahrawi, often termed the father of surgery. His work, Al-Tasrif, continued to be the standard work in Europe for over 500 years. He first introduced a range of surgery-specific procedures and tools, such as catgut for stitching and other innovations. He did not confine himself merely to theory. Instead, he left a very subtle influence on the advancement of medicine. There's Ibn Rushd, yet another brilliant mind. The philosopher and scientist connected the ideas of Islamic theory with Western. His commentaries on Aristotle helped form a comprehensive revision of classic Greek philosophy in Europe. He marked contributions he left in the areas of medicine, astronomy, and law. Thereby, he cemented himself to be the man of letters indeed. Astronomy was also developed by Andalusian scholars who perfected astronomical instruments and made acute observations about the movement of celestial bodies. Their work formed the basis for later European discoveries. Mathematicians built upon earlier works from the Islamic world and made certain advancements in the field of algebra and geometry. Architecture flourished also as science and art flowed into each other so smoothly. The great Mosque of Cordoba, whose magnificent arches and intricate decorations amazed the beauty in it, was a feat of engineering par excellence, which exemplified new and advanced techniques of construction and geometry. We discussed it at great length in our previous episode. These achievements did not happen in a vacuum. Scholars from diverse cultures and faiths labored tirelessly, sharing ideas and creating a cultural melting pot of knowledge. It was an era when scientific and innovative endeavors bloomed and reminded all of the boundless potential of human collaboration. However, in such brilliance, there were challenges there, threatening to destroy this era of incredible growth. This golden period of Al-Andalus was not only related to cultural and scientific advancement, but it was a period of remarkable economic growth. Cordoba was the heart of the empire, which became a hub of flourishing trade networks that connected the Islamic world with Africa, Asia, and Europe, creating a good flow of ideas, goods, and wealth. The silk trade routes brought fine silk, spices, precious metals, jewelry, and other luxuries to Al-Andalus, which the markets developed into commercial centers. The mercantile exchange between different regions was also made through merchants coming to local markets in Cordoba for buyers of goods from Africa and spices from Asia. Its position thus gave it a crossing of world nature, which contributed to settling it as a commercial center. This economic growth was further navigated with agriculture. Leaders in Al-Andalus created a superior irrigation system comprising aqueducts and water wheels that turned arid grounds green. Since such land had begun to be irrigated, farming on them made way for fruits such as orange and lemons, sugarcane and cotton. Apart from supplying all their household needs, these products had to be exported outside to meet other people's requirements. Agricultural improvement boosted the economy and set a foundation for the empire's affluence. Cordoba was a producer of prosperity. Life in the markets buzzed because artisans, merchants, and farmers brought out their goods. The liveliness of the economy was reflected in the city's streets, lined with shops and workshops, producing everything from textiles to exquisitely wrought metal work. The proceeds from these industries served to erect fantastic buildings, such as the Mezquita and Great Mosque, and fed into the merely pandemoniac developments within the booming cultural and intellectual life of the city. It was a time of economic prosperity and proof that Al-Andalus, with its creativity and resilience, stood as a trade and advancement center. However, wealth and influence often bring about their own troubles, and it raises the question, could this golden era last against the strain arising from within and beyond? Such flexibility shows the most admirable parts of its golden age on Al-Andalus. True versatility was portrayed by allowing mutual Muslims, Christians, and Jewish races to live side by side and taking their contributions that thrived off the versatility and collective respect. In a way, it was a life experience that was not quite perfect in spirit, but did help create a spirit of cooperation that catapulted Al-Andalus into a time of unprecedented cultural and intellectual flourishing. Though they were in the majority, their policies, which allowed them the freedom to worship according to their religion, allowed them also to participate freely in public life. Because the Christians and the Jews were learned, physicians and administrators, the knowledge brought forth in their fields added more substance to the success of Al-Andalus. It was very normal to see Jewish and Christian intellectuals debating philosophy side by side with their Muslim brothers, or working on the translation of old texts into Arabic so that this knowledge would eventually inspire rebirth in Europe. This harmony extended even beyond the pursuit of knowledge. In Córdoba, schools, architecture, food, and day-to-day living are manifestations of the blending of various cultures. Mosques, churches, and synagogues in the same place bear testimony to the era's tolerance. The outcome of this blend of traditions created breakthroughs in medicine, music, and arts that continued to have an impact even outside Al-Andalus. But such policies of tolerance were not gestures of goodwill, rather they were a strategy. The leaders of Al-Andalus realized that cohesiveness within this multicultural community was bound to occur if they wanted to live in peace and prosper. The strength of every community was welcomed as they built a society that flourished on diversity, for which the blending of different thought processes and practices produced extraordinary discoveries and inventions. This new form of coexistence transformed Al-Andalus into the land of hope, into a country in which diversity will not be a barrier, but instead the very gateway to success. However, history so often demonstrates that even the most harmonious society was not beyond its challenges. Will this sensitive balance end or be tormented by forces of division and disturbance? It was when the world witnessed it being hanged in its golden age. Córdoba stood for potential humanity, a city that represented the bustle of knowledge, prosperity, and abundance in its bazaars with wealth, a people with a vision for mutual success. Scholars set out the skies, poets wrote a beauty to place, architects, dreams turned stones, all those under the broad umbrella of uncommon prosperity. But history whispers a warning: with every peak, there comes a cliff. As Al-Andalus grew more powerful, so did the forces that sought to unravel its unity. Could a society built on such delicate coexistence withstand the mounting pressures of ambition, envy, and external threats? Would the brilliance of Córdoba's golden age endure, or would it be dimmed by the storms gathering on the horizon?